Hey there, I would just like to explain why I moved my horses to a new stable and then, after 10 weeks, moved them back to the old stable. So, I really liked my old stable. It was a really nice stable, nice people, nice place. The only thing I was missing was a really good riding arena. And maybe just a little bit an inside arena, just especially with this extreme amount of rain we had last year in the winter of 23. Would have been all the outside arenas were just like swimming pools most of the time, most of the winter, and and unrideable. So I was kind of really looking forward, or I was looking for a stable where I had like a lot of outside time and space for the horses. I would prefer let's say a walk-in stable where they could choose if they would be outside or inside, and I wanted to have like good facilities to try to get even develop my riding even better when and be able to ride. I mean, I was able to ride outside at the old stable quite nicely, but for training it was always a bit difficult when the outside arena was a swimming pool. So in the beginning of 24, like in April, May, I started to look for a new stable, and by accident, I found the new stable, which was everything I wanted to have, more or less. There was a walk-in, like really big walk-in stable, where they could choose to be inside with a lot of space to sleep and to be and rest and there were pastures and kind of a track around, and there was it was just next to the riding club, where they had an inside arena and a big outside arena and a small outside arena, and like really good facilities. And what I didn't know, but which was even the best thing ever, was like this woods we had just across the street, which was just amazing. For like you can walk there for hours and not meet anybody, and not especially not going have to cross a road or whatever. So it was just, and like hilly, you could go up and down, and it was just amazing, nice, beautiful woods. So I decided to move my horses, which I found really scary because they're both 22 years old, and which is okay old for a horse, and I wasn't really sure about if moving them would be okay and if they would survive and if they would feel okay. And so but I decided to do that anyway, and I moved them. So the first 2 3 weeks I was the happiest person in the world because I had lots of news. I had the first walk in the woods, and I had the first ride in the big outside arena, and I had the first groundwork session in the small outside arena, and we were trying out the inside arena, and I mean it was just great. And I had like a nice hack with a stable, somebody else from the stable, and we went swimming with the horses, and it was just, I mean, had really happy time. But then it happened. First of all, my white mare, started to cough like really badly, and I was kind of, so that was scary. And I called the vet, and the vet gave her some medicine to kind of solve the debris in her lungs, but that didn't really work. And then I had the vet over again, and then he gave her a cortisol injection because then we thought maybe it is an allergy against the hay. And So he gave her a cortisol injection and some gel to open the lungs to make her breathe more easily. And he said that the only real solution to the problem would be to change her environment. So I put them in a stall and overnight, and with hay nets, which were kind of soaked in water, and that worked. And then in the morning she was better. And then we ordered some a big bale of wrapped hay, so which I knew she would be okay with, because in the old stable they always served wrapped hay to the horses, not like the dry unwrapped hay, but like wrapped hay. And then we always kind of had Johnny and Fianne in a part of that walk-in stable with the wrapped hay, and the other horses couldn't eat the wrapped hay because they would get diarrhea. So that thing wasn't really, we couldn't find a line which would work for all the horses, and that was working kind of okay, because in the mornings Fianne was quite okay, and in the evening she was first of all coughing a lot, but then when it got really warm and dry, she was kind of having this sounds with breathing. So she was breathing really heavily, and when you see the flanks of the horse really helping to breathe out, to push the air out of the lungs. So that got really scary, and then I was kind of devastated. I mean, I really loved that place. It was nice, and I liked the people, and it's a small stable. There were only, with my horses, there were 8 horses. And I had like these really nice facilities, and I had the woods just next door, and it was just perfect. And then with Fianne already being coughing and having this heavy breathing, she was lame again. And this was the next really disappointing thing. And so I stopped riding again, and we were going for a lot of walks, which was beautiful still, because it was the best weather in September, and it was just so nice and beautiful in these woods, and I really, really enjoyed all our walks. But the calf just stayed, and when it was a bit more cool, Fianne was better, but when it was really hot, she was really breathing very heavily, and very extended movement of her flanks. And it really scared me, because I thought, this has to change. If I leave her here, she's going to die sooner or later, because this is just it's not changing, and it doesn't get any better. And so it took me about 4 weeks to really make this really difficult decision to hopefully go back to the old stable, because in the old stable she was always fine. There was no coughing because they fed different hay. And so I called my old stable and I asked if I could come back, which I actually had done already before, but then I just couldn't decide to move the horses back to the old stable because I really wanted to stay. But then when I realized that the pastures would be closing in the winter, and they just only had the walk-in stable and the paddock before the walk-in stable and the run around the pastures, I realized that Fianne would just mostly stay in the walking stable and eating hay. So she would be really, really bad at the end of winter. And that really kind of forced the decision onto me to to try to move them back. I even tried to inhalator to have a look if this would work, and it worked a bit. So she was less, the breathing got a bit better, but I mean the coughing stayed, and it didn't go away. I mean, I still heard sound when she was when it was hot and dry, and she was eating hay the whole day, more or less, and she was not on the grass. But I mean, she wasn't breathing that badly anymore, but it just, I mean, it's still been there, but it wasn't over. And then when she moved a bit more, when she moved a bit faster, or we moved up the hill, she started coughing again. So the inhalator made things a bit better, but it didn't solve the problem. So I called the old stable and asked if I could come back, and I could. And then after 10 weeks, finally, in October, I went back to the old stable where they are already, and they got back into the herd, at least the herd they formed a new herd, because there were some horses which have left, so they combined the geldings and the mares. And yeah, so by now they're back in the herd at the old stable, and the calf was over immediately. As soon as they were back and they had only the wrapped hay to eat, the calf was over, the breathing was good. So that is good. But I really miss the woods, and I can't train anyways a lot or at all, really, because Fiona is still not walking correctly. And yeah, that was it. I'm really happy to be at the old stable again. I'm happy Fiona is better, but I do miss the new stable. It was really fun to be there. And when I can, I will come back, I think, maybe with another horse then. But that was our last walk through the woods, and it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful there. And here we are at the old stable. Fiona, like always, stealing Johnny's food. First they were just the two of them in a paddock, and before they joined the herd. So Johnny's making his funny little lips, which he took him, I don't know, I think months or years to learn that. But yeah, so they're both happy at the old place. Fiona's stealing Johnny's food, and we'll see how it goes. And I hope Fiona will be okay again, totally. So that's the story about the moving forth and back. And both stables are really nice and really good, but having a horse which reacts to the hay, it's just not possible to keep her in a place where they feed hay. Even if hay is good for most of the horses, it's not for Fiona. So I hope that explains a lot of my last stories and stuff, and I hope Fiona will be okay again, even with her lameness. So that's all for now. And here too, we are just walking a lot, as well as in the old stable, as in the new stables, meeting goats and their woods as well, but just not so big and not so nice. And hopefully everything will be okay. That's it for now. Bye bye.